Putting the circle in circle track racing, Oxford Plains Speedway is Maine's premier motor racing venue that plays host to the annual Oxford 250. While the Oxford 250 is fun and all, we're not racing for 250 laps, nor are we racing with super late models this evening, as iRacing's Rookie Legends drivers are up to the test this week for 40-lap races at the historic 3/8 mile oval. Hi, welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Oxford, Maine. I am Andrew Cardinale IV with Zach Murtis alongside, and week number 3 brings us to more of a circle and less of an oval, but Oxford is absolutely not an easy track to master, Zach, especially not in a legend car.
Absolutely, and before we were actually coming up here on broadcast, I was turning some laps myself, just seeing how the track handles, and well, if you've ever really been on a circle track, you're pretty much turning left the entire time. There's no get the wheel back straight, point the car off the corner. It's turning the whole time. So you got to be easy with the throttle. You got to watch your throttle input everywhere, really. And it's definitely going to see how difficult it may be to see how these rookie legend cars handle. But they are lower in power than your normal C-Class legend cars. So it might actually just be a little bit easier.
All drivers have already qualified. That happens pretty quickly here at Oxford, but let's go ahead and take a look at the track map. It is just about a perfect circle, or at least as perfect of a circle as you're going to see for a racetrack without going to centripetal circuits. So yeah, it is very much an oval, a circle, whatever you want to call it, an O, and I mean, that's about all there is to it. You're rarely going straight, and usually if you are, it's only because you're headed down the pit lane, which is not where you want to be in a 40-lap legend race. The rookie legend lap record here set by Thomas Everson is a 16.737, and in qualifying we are not quite to that time. It is a 17.069 for pole sitter Tom Scully so far, and we don't expect that to change, although Evan Gilmet, we could go on the racetrack and surprise us. Well, not anymore. We have just ticked on over to the race session. Quickly, let's talk about point standings coming into this evening. Here we go. Joel Smith leading the way, Andrew Marin in the second spot, Walker Cole third, and this is for all divisions in rookie legend racing after week number 2 at USA.
Yeah, that on screen, right? There was an ARCA car that ran here and has a lap.
Yes. Well, in iRacing, the ARCA series has gone here before, but you can see points on screen: Jonathan Tuckness, Doug Warren, Gunter Gens, all the way down through Willie Falcon. We have a couple of Australians in the top 10 through all divisions right now, which I think is rather interesting, and you don't usually see that one. Let's go ahead and go through your starting grid this evening for 40 laps at Oxford Plains Speedway. On pole, Tom Scully in car number 1. Lou Christian will follow up in car number 2. Starting third, it is the number 4, though, of Adam Vinny. Frank Bing starts from 4th, and starting 5th, you'll find Justin Gosselin. Wesley Hopkins makes the top half of the grid. Starting 7th, it is number 7, Mikhail Valentin, with Zachary Hart starting 8th. Starting 9th, you'll find Nicholas Gammon just ahead of Brandon Borgos. And your back row of the field, Ken Stanfill and Evan Gilmet. So 12 cars ready to go here for 40 laps at Oxford Plains. Weather today is 78 degrees. The track, though, 119 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a warm one.
Definitely going to be interesting to see how this goes. Pace car is going to pull off here in just a second. We'll go racing. I don't think we have anyone in this session that's in the top 10 in points, do we?
No, we do not, which kind of continues to be the way it goes, but we did see Joel Smith in week 1 at Charlotte. Green flag is out at Oxford, 40 laps. Let's go. Already, my goodness. That is a big one. Mikhail Valentin sent to the Shadow Realm, and multiple other cars still having trouble getting onto the racetrack and getting back going, but one lap will go complete here at Oxford, and just like that, lap number 2 almost halfway done. Our leaders on the backstretch: Tom Scully, Luke Christian, Adam Vinny, your top 3.
I guess NASA wasn't the only one launching rockets this week.
Adam Vinny, I believe, I'm pretty sure he was in the race last week. It might have been week 1. So I think Adam Vinny might be our first return driver that we've seen, Zach. I think going back to Charlotte, we saw Vinny in the field in that number 4 car. Good to see him back out here this evening as Tom Scully leads the way over Lou Christian. Let's go back now to the start of this race and see what happened here on lap number 1. A lot is the short answer, but we want to get the long answer. So let's watch these guys.
Pace car pulls off, and there's the launch.
Mikhail Valentin somewhere middle part of the field. And he goes off the racetrack pretty quickly. Aha! Well,
Oh my!
yeah, that is the iRacing space program in its finest.
The net code giveth, and the net code taketh away.
That's one way to put it. Let's go on board for this one. This is gonna be one of the more unique shots we've had on Pit Stop TV before. Oh my goodness, Mikhail Valentin sent to space right about here. Wow.
If anyone needs a vomit bag, maybe we'll put some vomit bags up on the Pit Stop TV website for merchandise.
I'm not so sure about that one, but lap 7 underway, and we have a lead change for the first time today. Luke Christian up into the first spot. Tom Scully now second. Frank Bing in the third position. 7 laps down. Well, still 33 to go here, Zach. A long ways to go. Already some drivers having to use that fast repair. Well, I say some drivers. Mikhail Valentin, the only driver to do so, as he is back on track in the number 7. Justin Goss on the back end of the field, pulling up on Zachary Hart, Adam Vinny, and some others. We're really just quite spread out here at Oxford.
Absolutely. You know, quite a long one when it comes to the span of a legend car. I think the closest on-track battle we have really is the top 3 cars. And everyone else really just spread out amongst the field. But as we take a look on the overhead shot, you can see how these drivers are really handling the track, really always turning the wheel, swinging out wide, coming back in, taking a large entry, a large arc into the corner, and just trying to carry off the speed. These cars being slower than the C-Class Legends, it's always been about momentum. You got to keep the momentum up if you want to be fast, and the more momentum you have, hopefully you'll be able to try and pull away from the other drivers, but, you know, these battles are still really close for the top 3.
Well, you know, we've seen a lead change, which we haven't seen very much this season, at least not early in a race, where the pole sitter is not able to hold on to that lead for the entirety of the show, or at least the first 3 quarters or so. We've seen usually the pole sitter has been dominant in these races, Zach, so for Tom Scully to lose his lead early, I mean, he clearly wants it back. He is on the back end of Luke Christian, but it's going to be a challenge, and Christian now has that upper hand, has the advantage over Scully. It's pretty hard to pass in a legend car without contact.
It's a great thing, though. We're at Oxford Plains. It's such a small track. We're already getting ready to roll up on lap traffic here in just a minute. So we might see a little bit of some lap traffic hold up the leaders. Just try to compromise the line and see how well maybe Scully can come on in and take that spot away.
Frank Bing, he's just hanging out in the background. He's waiting for an opportunity from these front 2 to go on by, maybe. And of course, contact could open that door rather quickly. There are some battles throughout the rest of the field. Evan Guillemette is one of those drivers battling with somebody else. Nicholas Gammon here. This is for the 6th position. Guillemette over Gammon. And I believe that position has changed rather recently. But back up to our top 2. It's getting closer. Tom Scully right on the back end of that 14 car.
When do you expect him to, just pull the old semi-pro and roll off the brake and try to move him up out of the way?
Well, it seems like Scully realizes where he is in this race and that we're only on lap 16 coming to 17 of 40. Yes, it has gone by quickly, but there's still plenty of racing to go. And if you look at the licenses, nobody in this race is a rookie, at least not a true rookie. We've got an A-class driver leading, that is Luke Christian, a B-class driver running second, that is Tom Scully, and Frank Bing is out of the D-class. We have some mixed throughout the rest of the field of A, B, and D. So, I mean, these guys, they've run plenty of races to get to where they are in iRacing. They're not going to force anything just yet, I don't think, but we might see them start to get a little bit frisky here soon after halfway.
We did see just a second ago, Scully was taking a look up the inside on the front stretch. He got really, really close. They both slid up the racetrack just a little bit, cost them both a little bit of time, but he's right back on the back bumper of the 2, and it's definitely going to be fun to see how this goes.
Background to complete lap number 19. We are officially at lap 20 then, and after this one, we're halfway through this race, and the 1 car, Scully, still putting some pressure on our race leader. Now, Christian scored as car number 2, displayed as car 14. Don't let that one confuse you, but he will lead us to halfway home.
It's those custom numbers, I would assume.
Oh, and we've got a problem. Scully's starting to have some connection issues, maybe. Dropped out of the race for a moment, but there we go. That's a slip-up from our leader, Luke Christian. That was almost the open door that Scully needed.
Just a little tap on the bumper. maybe just a little bit. But Christian got up on the bumper. Why do I keep saying bumper? The sausage curbs, I think we should call them. That's what they kind of look like. He just got up on them a little bit and was able to just upset the car a little bit, and that allowed Scully to take a look, but it seems like he's kind of dropping back a little bit more now.
Of course, no cautions in these rookie races. These guys just have to go out there and put 40 laps complete as quickly as possible. And they are shifting quite a bit in the corners. Christian drops down a gear, will come up a gear, and drop back down a gear. So these rookie drivers, well, in the rookie series anyway, having to work the gears like they're some pros, and they're doing so mighty fine so far. But Scully, I think he might have run his tires off. Frank Bing starting to close in.
It's interesting to see that these drivers are starting to utilize shifting. I took a little bit of a test drive, so I think I know how they're doing it. Getting up to third gear on the straightaway, down to second, center of the corner, and it's creating a lot of drive off. That's what they want, to keep the momentum up, and it's allowing these drivers up front to stay closer together. Bing closing in on Scully, trying to take that second spot away. We got another battle on track, I believe, too.
Yeah, Adam Vinny putting some pressure now on Nicholas Gammon. This for the 7th position on board with Vinny. He tracks out wider on the front stretch, tucks in way down to the bottom side, bumper bar, maybe a little bit of contact. Now he's much more tight to the inside this time than the back straightaway, and into turn 3. Ooh, that's a shot in the shorts.
That's a bit more of a shot. He tried to move him, couldn't get there, but he's up the inside now, side by side through the corner, and we're going to give that spot to Vinny. He's going to clear him coming off a 2.
Pass complete for the 4 car. Now here comes Zachary Hart in position number 9, car number 6. And he'll see if he can put a monster run potentially on that number 11. Meanwhile, up front, things are still holding about as they were. Nothing really changing as we go to our wide top cam, and you can really see just how short this place is, but also just how much room these guys have around them. These legend cars, not very big, especially in comparison to a 3/8 mile track.
I can tell you for certain, you come to one of these tracks, and it seems like it's a quarter of a mile to a late model. That's a short track. But to us guys that run in legend cars, it honestly looks like a super speedway. It can be wild.
A nice drone view of our top 3 as they come up to some lap traffic. That is car 6, Zachary Hart. That battle, actually, that was a different car that was in behind Nicholas Gammon. That was not for position. That was Justin Gosselin, I believe, who's a lap down. But that is Zachary Hart, who now goes that 1 lap down and falls in behind our race leader. Thankfully, is going to stay up the racetrack and out of the way of this top 3. Let them go on by. But it does look like Bing is having some troubles down on the curbing there at turn 4. That 5 car has got some issues.
He's spinning out. He's trying to hold on to it. He might have broken something.
It looks fine now, but yeah, that was a really weird bit of movement there to turn number 1. Hangs onto the car. Wesley Hopkins, though, behind, might get an opportunity. Yes, here we go. Bing down to the pit lane. Did not expect this one. That is huge.
He might have tipped the curb, maybe just broke something underneath. I know the damage model's been updated recently. It's been a little sensitive. I don't know if it's been updated on the Legend car, though, but I do know for certain running over these turtles, these sausage curbs, it can be very detrimental to a Legend car. There's a lot of stuff underneath there that can be broken very, very easily.
Here we go, Adam Vinny working on somebody else now. Evan Gilmet, this is for the 5th position. Adam Vinny could pick up a top 5. Now, I'm not sure about Adam Vinny's stats as a whole this season, but this is not the first time we've seen him in a top split race, Zach. And, of course, top split points are going to be better than bottom split points. If he gets a top 5 here, he could move up big time in the season point standings. It's only week number 3. This is important. That's a big pass around the outside. He's got it across the line, but he's not clear yet.
Talk about making moves. We haven't seen a pass on the outside all race, and we're coming up on 5 to go.
Vinny's still working on it. He might have it this time. Clear in 3 and 4, maybe. Yes, he's finally clear the 12. And the 8 car, Justin Gosselin, a lap down. Whoa, there we go. Evan Gilmet right back to the inside. Not letting the 4 get away just yet, but he finally might have made a fatal error there. Popped the curbing on the inside. This is the onboard with Evan Gilmet. He's fighting, but yeah, the door finally shut, and that's not where you want to be, not on that curb.
He rode the curb all the way through turn 4, and he's probably going to lose another spot here.
That was really close. Nearly got into the 8 car of Gosselin. Now, 12 versus 11. That is Gilmet and Gammon. Gammon around the outside of the number 11. He falls back a little bit. A lap car in between as our leaders are a half second apart. Coming to 2 to go.
Scully has to put 2 perfect laps together. He's half a second behind. He's sending it through these corners. He's trying to get up there, but I don't think it's going to be enough unless they catch this lap traffic.
Well, they are just about to catch that lap traffic. It is right up the road. Those battles we were just watching as the white flag will fly here at Oxford, presented by Whiplash Simcams. And look at the gaggle of cars that the race leader, Lou Christian, is coming up on. This is going to be tough, but I don't think he's quite going to catch them. Perfect timing for Christian, and he will collect this checkered flag at Oxford. That said, the race is not over, Zach. Watch all this stuff coming to the start-finish line this time. Gammon is still in range for Guillemette into turn 3, but he's way up the racetrack, and I think out of range now for sure. The battle to the line, and it's not really much of a battle at all. Although he got close, it's not enough for Gammon to get Guillemette.
It was a good move. I saw what he was trying to do there. Wide entry, cutting it low to just drive it all the way up off. He had a good idea going, but he just wasn't close enough to make it happen.
Unfortunate for Gammon, but hey, P7 not all that bad, especially when you're just trying to get some points and get yourself into a good spot in the standings. Let's go back a little bit and check out our unofficial, well, I'd say they're pretty official, race results. I don't think much is going to change about them, Zach, so here we go. A full look at your top 10, Lou Christian with the win.
Slowly putting on a dominating performance, taking the lead from Tom Scully, who eventually finished his second. Wesley Hopkins in the third position. Brendan Borgos, I believe, finishing in the fourth position. Adam Vinny, our only returning driver from first week, finishing another top 5 in top split. Emma Guillemette and Nicholas Gammon rounding 6th and 7th. Zachary Hart and Justin Goslin in 8th and 9th. And then Frank Bing, who was up running with the top 3, ended up taking a short pit stop, taking his fast repair, taking the 10th position. And then you have Michael Valentine in the 11th spot and Ken Stanfell in the 12th position, I believe being the only car that did not start this race.
And of course, Mikhail Valentine was our auditioner for the iRacing.com space program on lap number 1. Thankfully, he was able to return to Earth safely and continue on in the race, but he does still finish in the 11th position. So, talking about the schedule then, Zach, that's the wrong schedule. That's the correct schedule, though. Charlotte, USA, Oxford, they are done and dusted just like that. Next up, Concord Speedway. It's not exactly in use these days, but boy, was it a classic legend car track when it was still functioning.
Mini Pocono. All I got to say, Mini Pocono.
You know, oddly enough, we're headed to Pocono's sister track, South Boston, the week after. So, a couple of ties there, I guess, if you will. Concord Speedway next week for week number 4, South Boston for week number 5, and then Lanier for race number 6. That'll be our final of the first races. I guess that we'll see the same track later on, if that made any sense at all. But we're going to Lanier twice. Kind of what I'm going for there. And then look at that, we recycle over to Charlotte, Thompson, Langley, Lanier again, Oxford again, and USA again. I'm looking forward to the rest of the schedule. We've already knocked off 3 pretty good racetracks, and I'm really excited to see how Concord goes next week. What else stands out to you? I mean, Thompson's kind of a super speedway for these guys. That's one of the bigger tracks in the schedule.
Definitely. I think the one thing that really stands out to me going forward right now is that after we move on from Concord, the next 3 tracks, Andrew, you've actually had the privilege to broadcast, I believe, at all 3 of them.
You know, there is that, yes, and you could include Langley on that list as well. But yeah, South Boston, I was there earlier this year with Flow Racing for the Harley-Davidson 300 or 200, I forget which, if it was 2 or 3, but I've been there with the Cars Tour. I've been to Lanier, of course, for USLCI TV and Charlotte Motor Speedway a million times, just like you have. So, yeah, 3 pretty familiar tracks in that right. Thompson, I'm excited for that one up in Connecticut. That'll be in we've broadcasted that on Pit Stop TV before, but we don't do that very often. Same thing for Langley. We had that with the Cars Esports Tour last summer, but it's rare that we get a reason to broadcast from Langley, and I'm glad we have one this season. And of course, Lanier, Oxford, and USA all over again. There aren't many upcoming broadcasts the rest of this week, but we do have a few next week as we will end this week with Sunday, Circuit of the Americas for the Sim Pit Road Racing Series at 1:30 Eastern. Then next Tuesday, of course, we're off to Concord Speedway for the Legends. And then Wednesday, you might, if you're a regular viewer here at Pit Stop TV, you might realize that we have moved the Roval back for the Outlaw Sim Series. Of course, Hurricane Ian is impacting Florida and the rest of the southeastern United States later this week, actually beginning tonight. So the decision was made by the Outlaws Sim Series to just go ahead and push this race back 1 week, let things sort out. And of course, they have some Nova Scotian drivers as well. Max Service, Andrew St. Clair up there in that area. So with Superstorm Fiona that had recently gone through that area, again, they don't have power. It's just better to go ahead and push off 1 week with the playoffs in the situation they are, and just try not to impact too many people. Let these guys have a chance to get through these storms and continue racing. Now, on that subject, if you are in Florida, especially tonight, or anywhere else in the southeastern United States, or even up there in Nova Scotia, or really anywhere, and you need to find information for yourself or loved ones or friends or family or whatever about these storms, I really highly suggest tuning into Ryan Hall, y'all, here on YouTube. That's where I personally go. This is absolutely not sponsored, but Ryan Hall does a fantastic job covering these weather events and is live currently and will be for the next handful of hours and will be live again tomorrow. So Ryan Hall, y'all, if you gotta stay up to date with weather, I highly, highly recommend. Again, not at all sponsored. I just really enjoy what the guy puts out in its quality weather information. It's the place to go. So thankfully, we are not putting anybody in the position where they have to stay home and race. We're not racing the rest of the week until Sunday afternoon with the Sim Pit Road Racing Series from Circuit of the Americas. That will be race number 1 for that series, and then we get back into our usual cycle of things. Zach, any final words, though, from Oxford Speedway this evening?
Not too much, really. You know, it was a bit of a clean race there going forward. I do want to kind of build on what you said with, you know, Hurricane Ian. I do have some family down there. I do hope they're staying safe, and I do hope everyone else out there is staying safe as well, as I'm pretty sure everyone else at Pit Stop TV is sending their condolences. But, you know, as for Oxford, definitely going to be interesting to see how the points shank up, considering we only had a couple of returning drivers that were up there, you know, in the first race for us. None that were in the top 10 were in this race, so it's going to be interesting moving forward, going Concord. The next couple of races, it's South Boston, Lanier, Charlotte, 3 tracks where legend cars are going to be good at. You've got Thompson. It's going to be like a bit of a super speedway, really, for the legend cars. But it's just going to be interesting to see how this whole season really as a whole shakes up.
There you go, 40 laps just like that, done and dusted here from Oxford. Thanks so much to those people who make it possible for us at Pit Stop TV, Whiplash Media, SimCams, SimRapMarket.com, and of course, Permanent Makeup in Cryowood, Maine. Thanks so much, again, to the people who make this kind of thing possible for us at Pit Stop TV to drop into a random Rookie Legend race on a Tuesday evening and broadcast it for those that want to watch. Thanks so much for watching as well. We really do appreciate you being here. Let us know if you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Otherwise, we will see you next time, hopefully, for the Sim Pit Road Racing Series from Circuit of the Americas this Sunday afternoon at 1:30 Eastern. We'll see you there.